I'm an environmentalist. I am a human rights advocate, champion of LGBTQ rights, an engineer, entrepreneur, and a mayoral candidate. I just put a petition in the description so that people can start voting for me to be the mayor of Los Angeles. Don't get me wrong, I hate LA, but the name of this podcast is I Hate LA, Love Me Anyway, because the things I gripe about, the things I complain about, are huge issues for Los Angeles, namely hate crimes and poverty and the treatment of California veterans and the treatment of California American citizens. So I made this petition. It is long because I went over my economic policies. I went over the changes I would like to make. What I wanted to do a podcast on today is my changes to law enforcement and fire services here in Los Angeles. Namely, I want fully comprehensive LAPD. I want LAPD to be readily available. So I'm going to combine a couple of things which I didn't include in my petition, but yes, my exabit internet, that super fast, ultra fast internet that would encompass the entire county of Los Angeles. So no matter where you were, all the way at the beach, deep underground, at the top of an office building, it wouldn't matter. Internet would be free, strong, and always available, with Ethernet available everywhere. On trains, on buses, Ethernet, not just Wi-Fi. So if you need to plug in, you're plugged in. Hello, Jack. Nice to see you. Talking about my mayoral candidacy as I wear a leather jacket because, I'm too cool for that position, but someone has to do it and someone has to negotiate better for California. California police officers, sheriffs, they need better health benefits. They risk everything and they're not really getting a return because they're hated by most people and most people need to call them. So what do? We give better benefits. If you're risking your life, you should have health benefits that are tangible, which is why I said that prices for food in California have to plummet to respectable prices. If you cook the meal yourself, it should be cheap. Because we want Americans to eat their own food. We want Americans to stop wasting their money and actually using their money for other things. If you have to spend hundreds of dollars just to get your specialty this and specialty that all these restaurants offer you, and you're missing out on textbooks, that's a problem. So, no, I want to lower food prices here in America, but specifically Los Angeles County, because I'll just say it, I'm a huge Marvel fan. I watched WandaVision and I watched Agatha. And the thing that I took from that is there really is such a thing as Eastview and Westview. In Eastview, they're concerned with what's going on with DC, what a president can do, and they don't think what is going on within what I can see. Because within what I can see my own city, and my city needs me. It could use Trump if Trump truly cared about California, but California. Oh, hello, Gino. I'm sorry, I didn't mean to ignore people here. And thank you, Jack, for saying I'm a cool dude. So my father was, I think he passed by now, but either way. So I get it mostly from him. And then there's the fact that I didn't really grow up with Americans. I mean, I had Americans around me, I just didn't really talk to them. So I sound like the people who I talk to more: Irishmen, Welshmen, Scotsmen, Australians, just New Zealanders. That's who I sound like. And also, I'm a student of life. I'm a student of Eastern philosophy. I see a big picture, and no, I'm not going to subscribe to American bullshit. So no, I don't sound like an American, and I've sounded the same for 4 decades at this point, so it's not going away. It's who I am. But thank you for your comment. I'll just clear that out my way, and let me continue my conversation about reducing prices for food. I'm not against restaurants. I think that restaurants would benefit from an extra tax on those that choose to dine there. When you put a tax on that, it shows that your food is worth more. And that tax goes directly back to you. We have to be concerned about wealth in Los Angeles, because most people think of wealth and they think of money. I say, well, health is wealth. And if my city is sick, if my city is on fire, I'm concerned about it. I'm not a doctor, but I do consider Los Angeles kind of on life support. Because these forest fires keep happening. We keep having homeless people attack people. So what if we change that? I watched The Walking Dead, Dawn of the Dead, all these zombie films. And it's always been the case of there are hordes out there, hordes out there. What if the hordes get in? What if the zombies get in? Los Angeles is a zombie town. The cure for brainless people in your county is to have more people come to your county, more commerce in your county, more business in your county. That's why I want to negotiate contracts between Los Angeles and Las Vegas. We are going to be an energy provider. I would like to use my mayoral candidacy to create a solar supergiant. Namely, Los Angeles is expanding. I want solar flotillas in the Pacific Ocean, specifically to provide more power. I'm going to put money back into the wallets of California residents, because for the longest time, we have always said, you plug it into the wall and then you pay for it later. I disagree. I say, if that big, beautiful California sun is really a nuclear explosion in the sky, then we are going to take every last bit of that energy and use that to power our homes here in California. No more power utilities. No more having to reach into your pocket to pay for something which is free. So free power, free, widespread, strong internet throughout Los Angeles County. Makes it a safer place, makes it a place that has more money. Because when you no longer have to pay for internet and power, what will you spend your money on? I don't know, you want to go to the movies? You want to go to the beach? Oh, let me think about it. Why don't you go to a restaurant now? Guess what? There's a tax on that, but the restaurants, they're solar too, so they have more money. They can afford to hire more waiters and waitresses, and they can afford to hire more busboys to clean those tables faster. They can hire more chefs. They can hire more dishwashers because now there's more free-flowing money throughout the California economy. We have to start somewhere. People talk about taking back America. I want to take California because California has fucked me over for the last fucking time. So instead of being angry about it, I'm just going to be superhuman about it. I'm going to be a mutant. And as a mutant, I'm going to say, you just need more money. And here's how you get it. So solar power throughout the entire county. Free broadband internet that is super fast because we will be using my exabit ultra fast internet. And did I mention that we will be irrigating California finally? Because these solar flotillas will also be water treatment facilities to desalinate that water and then pump it back throughout the entire county. So I guess that means that water is going to be free too. And don't worry about the Pacific Ocean, you know, we won't drain all of it. We're just going to transmute it into even clearer water because it's going to go to every single forest that California has burned down because of its fucking ignorance. And as a future mayor of Los Angeles, I will call you fucking idiots for doing that. So yes, I have a million trees project for California, which I would love to enact after Mayor Karen Bass resigns respectfully. And then a special election is held where I can be put back on the ballot. So that's what I'm discussing today. I'm discussing hope and change. We have a problem with traffic here because everyone has a car and everyone thinks that they're the only person who has the right of way. So what can I do about that as mayor of Los Angeles? I think a mayor has to do one thing really well. They have to be able to listen. True, I can tell you what to do, I can create programs for you, but if I'm not listening, then I'm no better than the people who oppress you currently. So The first thing I'm going to do as a mayor is send out a questionnaire by email, phone, fax, and US certified mail. A questionnaire designed to ask you a couple of questions, but it all boils down to what is going on in your life, your household, and do you need help? And if you need help, how can we help you? Because there is an attitude in the majority of the United States where people think money is all that matters and raising your family is not as important. It's somebody else's job. It belongs to teachers and babysitters and nannies and au pairs and strangers that you shove your kids on because you got to go to work. And I say there are some people who operate their families like that and they do just fine, but there are also people who are struggling. I'd like to offer some help with that. Instead of perhaps going to an office, instead of getting into a car to drive across a county to work, why don't we have more work from home initiatives? Start speaking to every single employer-based business, every office, and say, what can we do to give your employees options, to let them know that if they want to stay at home, they have a right to do so. They have a right to have within reason, most of their office work done at home. They have a right to transition from face-to-face meetings to over the phone to maybe Zoom or Skype or web meetings, because we need to reduce traffic. If you have an impetus to go across town because you want to try out a new restaurant or go to a movie or something like that, you should always have that right. But you should also have the option of having that food delivered and having that same film shown at home, where you have your own concession stand. I want to change how Californians sees wealth. I want to change how they see problems, because the problem of traffic has always been there are too many cars on the road. But it's not the cars that the issue, it's that people are in those cars. So, a stay-at-home initiative. If you want to stay at home, raise your family, you should always have that option. You should be able to speak to your employer and say, I want the stay-at-home option. What will I need in order to have a home office that is complementary to what I do presently in my position? And there are people who want to, just be in an office. Guess what? You can have that too. But if enough people decide to stay at home, do their workload in a manageable sense, take a nap, sit outside, play with your kids, help them with their homework, why not take that time to do that? Hello, Clint. Nice to see you. I did my hair and everything, but it always turns out the same. Just, I can never figure out how to make it cool. But enough about my hair and my lack of any raise whatsoever. I recently announced my mayoral candidacy. If you look in the description, Clint, you will see that I have a petition there to elect me as mayor of Los Angeles. I talk about how Los Angeles can improve. I think I should just take the position. And even if I don't take the position, I think I should be a community leader that still does that, because we have to get certain things done. We need to reduce temperatures here in California. We need to reduce pollution here in California. We need to raise wealth in California, specifically in Los Angeles. I gave the example earlier of, and thank you, Clint, if you will sign that petition. I think I have to have the majority of people be Los Angeles residents, but even if you're not from the area, please sign my petition because it creates visibility so more Los Angeles residents can see that petition. Health is wealth, and I want to restore health. Health means options. I want to restore choice to California, specifically Los Angeles. Before you came into the chat, I was discussing how, in every zombie film, they talk about don't let them in, don't let them get in. Oh no, they're in the mall, or oh no, they're in the city, zombies everywhere. Well, guess what? These mindless zombies that we worry about all the time, they can be cured. They can be helped. And the way to help them is you help yourself first. You have a free-flowing, strong economy. If California has a stronger economy, it can deal with anything. And right now, it needs to deal with a lot. It needs to deal with these forest fires. It needs to deal with poverty and crime here. It needs to deal with famine and disease. Not every Californian is eating properly. Not every Californian is healthy. When COVID swept through this area, it was as indiscriminate as possible for a genetically targeting virus. But a lot of California people were sick because their immune systems were not prepared. They weren't eating enough, and they were way too stressed, making them vulnerable to disease. So I'm going to have that conversation on my channel, on my podcast, I Hate LA, Love Me Anyway. When a huge bioterrorist event like COVID, like monkeypox, sweeps through this area, it is an us versus them. Los Angeles City versus every other city on the planet, in our country. Because everything that you bring in is now tainted. Everything that you used to go to is now suspect, because you can't properly vet the cleanliness of external warehouses. So how do we address that? We address that by saying, I need Californians to love California. Farms, producers, distributors. You have hats that say LA. Well, guess what? You need to buy LA. You need to buy local, because we need to have a Department of Health that goes down to these farms, goes down to these distributors, these vendors, these supermarkets, and checks things thoroughly. That needs to be a practice that we need to have now. We cannot be caught by yet another wave of COVID, another wave of what comes next after COVID with, well, we don't have the infrastructure to check a supermarket that hundreds of people go through every day. We don't have that. We need to have that now. We need to have that now while we're still recovering from COVID. So yes, I do take this seriously. I take this extremely seriously as I wear my leather jacket. Because someone has to. Someone has to take a stand for their area. They have to hate it enough to say, well, I'm part of the problem if I don't do anything. And I know I'm a disabled American veteran and I'm still going for my veteran benefits, but part of those benefits should be that I have a county that I can be proud of. Part of those benefits should be that as a veteran, I live in a county that is so wealthy that it could do the unthinkable. I put in that petition for my mayoral candidacy that if you are a disabled American veteran with evidence and supportive documents, that the city of Los Angeles, if you're a resident, should pay you at 100%. 100%. No dithering about of, this injury here, this injury that. If you served the United States of America, if you stood for freedom while other people did nothing, you should have that. And this county has treated veterans poorly. They housed me in an area that is not inclusive of the LGBTQ. They make me ride a public transit system that doesn't have enough LA sheriffs to cover a high crime area. They don't have broadband internet of sufficient data that I could call the police from anywhere, including underground. So, what if it did? That's why I'm here. I'm here on this channel to say we can do better. We can change. Los Angeles can change. It doesn't have to be this way forever. Eventually, it was going to reach that point. Why don't we pull that future just a little bit closer to us? The idea of using brand new technology to have ultra fast internet throughout the entire county. I don't know about you, but I want that now. Why the hell am I paying an internet bill for something that technically should be free? Why am I paying an electric bill? I don't pay an electric bill, but why do most people pay electric bills when there is a nuclear explosion in the sky that gives us enough energy to run the entire globe? You have a star. You have a star in the sky. It's about time humanity realizes that is everything you need. It's everything you need to power your homes, power your cars, power your devices, give you energy, give you health. Oh, and grow your food for you. And yes, when we start irrigating all of Los Angeles under my mayoral term, we'll see nice, bright, green lawns. Yes, yes, yes. We'll see healthy forests, but we will also see people start to form sustenance farms in the backyards because now there's enough water there. We'll see people start doing hydroponics in their own homes because they have enough money to do so. They don't have to pay a power bill anymore or a water bill because water will be plentiful, clear, delicious, clean, trusted. Los Angeles can be so much more. If you're going from one side of the county to the next, we have to start talking about verticality. I'm considering an express. I think that the train lines need to have an extra express lane. It just makes 3 stops. One at Atlantic, one at downtown, and then straight to Santa Monica. Pick up less people, but you'd move a little bit faster. So have a 3rd rail. Just like the VA has to admit that they don't have a parking lot. They have an area there specifically for tiny homes, for homeless veterans. If you're not having people park in those parking spaces, that's a space for a tiny home. And it is inhumane to deny a veteran housing when they are homeless. It is inhumane to offer them housing that doesn't have heat. So, like I said, with a stronger economy, you can do anything. You can do what was impossible. So yes, if you live in Los Angeles as a disabled veteran with documentation, you should have 100%, and the city should pay for that. Because when the city has a stronger economy, writing a check for $4,000 to a couple of American citizens is not really going to change anything, because guess what? Every last one of them is going to go to local restaurants, go to local markets. They're going to buy tools from local stores. And guess what? That money goes straight back into the economy now. And did I mention that this sounds like it's a better recruitment policy than those stupid fucking Discover LA ads? Because why go to the beach when you can afford your own house? Why go to the beach when you could afford an apartment finally? In LA, I think veterans across the country would come to LA if LA had that policy. So you'd increase the population, which before might have been an issue, but not really anymore. The wealthier that people become here, the less likely they are to have things to bitch and moan about. They can focus on other things. They can focus on themselves. They can focus on their families. They can relax, lose the stress. I think that's important to do. So yes, I made a petition for me to be mayor of Los Angeles, because someone has to strengthen the California economy so that we can afford the basic things that we need here. We need efficient law enforcement. We need a fire department who who, by the way, in my petition, I told the LAFD to stand down when it comes to forest fires or large-scale operations. Because I think in LA, you really need to have a dedicated department for large-scale operations. And I know that's technically FEMA, but we don't exactly deal with regular things here. So what we need is to have a multidisciplinary trained task force that we can dispatch to things like forest fires, and we can dispatch to things like earthquake relief. We're prepared for so many things, but we have forest fires and we have earthquakes in this area. Hello, Ashu. Nice to see you. I have a description, and in that description is my petition to be the mayor of Los Angeles. Please look at that. If you would sign it, and I would love to help you, but I do not have a lot of funds myself. I'm about to be a homeless veteran. But if I could help you, I will. In fact, if you come up with a link to, I don't know, a Patreon or a Kickstarter for what you're going through right now, I will add it in the description of my next podcast. And I think that's how I'm going to handle things like that from now on. Because, as I always say in this podcast, I hate LA, love me anyway. It's not really about me. I have problems, I really do. But if I can help you, if I can help your situation, I will. So, Ashu, if you really need that, take the time, go to Patreon, go to Kickstarter, write a petition on petition sites like change.org, and give me a link in my podcast so I can put it in the description, because whatever you're going through, now I want to hear about it. So, Ashu, what is going on? I don't know if you're still in the chat, but should you come back next time, have a link for me so I can talk about what is going on in your life. And thank you to everyone who's been liking and subscribing. I appreciate that. It is tough for me to do podcasts. I really just want to be by myself and not put myself out there. But how can I do that when currently I have a VA that says suffer? I have a VA that's cruel, a VA that actually hurts veterans by not giving them their veteran benefits. But of course, there is that realization that those are my benefits, mine. And they're yours too, because when you have veterans off the streets, when you have veterans who feel empowered to go back into the world in a way that makes sense for them, obviously, they're better people. They are the respected heroes that you know them to be. It's time for change, LA. It's time to change for the better. Show the rest of the country why California girls are undeniable. Fine Fresh Fierce, you got it on lock. Okay? If you really feel that way, then do something about your county. Because right now, this county is sucking the life out of people. It's polluting the environment. It's ruining the health of your kids. It's crime ridden, but it doesn't have to be. This could be a state, thanks to Los Angeles, that puts money back into your wallet, gives you better health care, better health benefits than any other state. The future is what you make of it. So, I want a better future. I live in California. I don't like this right now, so I'm going to pull the future toward my state. I'm going to pull it because we need future tech. We need people to negotiate between several parties. Negotiate with teacher unions and say, we need to ensure your safety and ensure that you are paid what you deserve and that you are in an environment that you want to return to, because we want people who like to educate young people to continue to do so. People complain about teachers who had an OnlyFans in order to support themselves. But then these are the same people who say that if you educate my child, I should pay you less than a babysitter. If you educate my child and have to defend that child from gun violence or teen pregnancy or drugs or even depression from being bullied, I'm sorry. Oh, I'm terrible at English. You deserve more. I'll just say that. You deserve more as a teacher, and students deserve more as well. I have several environmental plans and fiscal plans for Los Angeles, but education has to change. And if you had broadband internet and that was throughout the entire county, including underground, we might have to have a few new universities, or you might consider being a student who's a distance learner from much further. Because if you're that interconnected, you can connect anything. So, we connect. I want to connect Los Angeles. I want that ability to say that no matter where you are, you can always phone the police. Anytime there's an emergency, you can call for fire, you can call for police, you can call for the new emergency services. These are important things that we have to talk about. Because every day that we keep saying, America made this decision for us, America made this decision for us, it's no, you live in a state, there are state rights, and a state has a right to rise above the economy of the surrounding country. Think of that. A richer, more self-sufficient California is a good idea for civil liberties and world human rights. Because the rest of America is not doing quite as well. But they could if they adopted similar programs. And yeah, I mean, after mayor, I mean, I guess I would probably go for president. But I think I will start as mayor because there's just more I could do in California and then the West than in that cold, frigid White Castle. Hello, Jaden. Welcome to my chat. I'm talking about how I want to run for mayor of Los Angeles. I think you might be a bit young for that petition to sign, but if your parents want to look it over and if they agree that I would be a good mayoral representative for Los Angeles, let your parents sign. How are you today? Did you have a good day at school? Are you getting straight A's? You can tell me. Because my rule has always been, if you have straight A's, you can be in my podcast. Otherwise, you may have to find another one. Hi, Laurie. Welcome to my chat here. The path back has always been a stronger economy. And California is in dire straits, but it's because it doesn't know what its strength is. Its strength is in its people, in its technology, and yes, its climate and in geographical position. You are right next to an ocean and you have the sun blaring in this area. Blaring. You could power the entire county and other counties just from Los Angeles alone if you did it properly. I made a petition, Laurie. If you look in the description, it's my petition to be the mayor of Los Angeles because I want the current mayor, Karen Bass, to resign and then for the city of Los Angeles to hold a special election so that I can be put on a ballot. If someone else wins, someone else wins. But at the very least, I'll be able to speak about these issues that we have going on here. For your mother to vote, I just think that it has to be an age thing. Right now, it's just a petition, so anyone could sign. I think they prefer people to be of 18 years or older, and hopefully an American citizen at the time. But every signature that I get means that there is more opportunities for visibility, therefore more California residents who actually really need to sign that petition will be able to see it. So if you go into my description, that's where it is. And Governor Newsom is mismanaging the state. He's only mismanaging the state because we let him. And the same thing with Karen Bass. If you disagree with Karen Bass, then run against her. If you disagree with Karen Bass and Governor Newsom, then you run against them. Never forget that you have power. Never forget that you can be a candidate just the same as they can. Jaden, that is not something to be mad at. That is something to be proud of. Do your homework and do it with pride because your teacher is saying that you are special, unique, rare, and necessary. Your teacher is saying that you are necessary. Your teacher is complimenting you in a way that you don't appreciate right now, but you will appreciate it because life is a higher grade. Life itself, reality, is a higher grade than the homework that we normally do. I'll give you an example that you can understand. So today Today was the last day for me to do food stamp application. So therefore, I'm out of food stamps. At the beginning of the month, I will not have food stamps. And I do say, that sucks. But that's the easy problem. Not even a problem, it's the easy challenge. The harder challenge is, what if I didn't need food stamps? What if I didn't need a supermarket altogether? What if I had my own farm and I ate food from my own farm? I don't know exactly where you are with your math, but there are two schools of thought in calculus: differentiation and integration. With differentiation, you sometimes get different degrees of exponents. Well, you can say is you get different perks, different solutions to a huge problem, a variable that you're trying to solve for. But with integration, there is one degree, or usually, or a reduced amount of varying degrees, because there's a more cohesive solution. A cohesive solution to hunger for every American has always been, well, why don't you just take a seed, put it in the ground, wait a while, and then eat that? It's not the answer that people want to hear, it's the answer that Americans need. And thank you for introducing your brother to me. Hi, Jaden's brother. I think your brother's like a baby there, so I don't know if they understood that analogy, which I am butchering because I'm good at math, I'm just not good at math analogies. But I think there is something to what I'm talking about there of, it's easy to tell people get on food stamps, get on, disability, get on this, get on that. It's a lot harder to say, we want you to be self-sufficient and wealthy enough so that you don't need that. And I know that California and the Department of Veteran Affairs are literally torturing me with my veteran benefits because they know they owe me. But more than... Hello, Sally from Korea. Welcome to my chat. More than the $4,000 a month allowance that they owe me the past monthly payments that I've missed because they haven't paid me yet. And they know that with that money, I could buy a farm, I could be a homesteader, I could start a new city, I could do a lot of things, and they don't like that. Because it's so much easier to control a person when you have them by the stomach. It's so easier to control someone when they control your wallet. Because if everything that you spend just leaks out because you have to pay for things like electricity, you have to pay for clean water because the rest of the water is not good. You have to pay for food. But if I was mayor, I could make it so that the whole state is wealthy. If the state is wealthy, then you can make some changes to how Californians specifically view expenditure. You could reward things like learning to cook a meal. You could reward things like staying at home and, making yourself popcorn on the stove instead of paying for it in a movie theater. And I know that most people in the entertainment industry are like, no, we want asses and seats. We want butts and seats. Sorry, language. We want butts and seats. So that, we can say that this movie is successful. And is that really the reason why you made that movie? Because I'm watching something like Captain America Brave New World, and people have been very critical of that film because it does feel like a very long episode of The Falcon and the Winter Soldier. But it's so much more than that. It's a story, it's something that you have to see in a larger screen so that your brain can say, this is important. The whole idea of them fighting over adamantium. Oh, by the way, spoiler alert, adamantium is the strongest metal, strongest known metal, stronger than vibranium. And the reason why people are fighting over that is because when you're strong, you break the chains that hold you. So I can understand why a country would want that. I can understand why a country would suppress that. But I don't understand why ordinary citizens wouldn't want that. Every day is the same. Every day is the same here. Why? Oh, I didn't know your brother's name is Zeke. Huh. Benjamin Buttonface then. Adamantium and vibranium. Marvel concepts, but you have to understand the meta of it. Because if you know the meta of it, it becomes something else entirely. Like vibranium to me has always been music. When people of color are attacked or faced with racism or oppression, they have a unique ability, really unique, that they take that energy and they transform it into music. A bunch of drum and hand claps, but it's enough to topple a government. It's strong. When you, as a person of color, put down your weapons and pick up an instrument, you are powerful because what you say resonates with people. It strengthens them, it heals them. And same thing with adamantium. When you start talking about your power, when you start talking about taking responsibility for the actions of others and for other people, you will feel superhuman. You will feel strong. You'll feel like you can tackle any problem. I go back to my horrible, horrible explanation of differentiation and integration. And this is one of the things that I was pondering while I was doing my calculus homework when I was sexually abused by military Master Sergeant Miranda of the United States Air Force. I was pondering that question while I was doing my calculus homework. That question of what it means to differentiate in society to think that your struggle of hunger, your struggle of missing love, your struggle of, having to pay bills is your struggle alone. And that in turn, if you keep thinking that way, you keep being taken advantage of. But if you thought that I could pay for your meal, and by paying for your meal, my meal is paid for. If you thought that by paying someone else's electric bill, your electric bill, hi Matt, would be reduced. That's what it means to be a mayor to me. It means that I have the opportunity to take on other people's problems as my own, but when I do so, I empower everyone. When I take responsibility for Los Angeles, I take responsibility for solving whatever crisis they seem to be in. And sometimes those crises are very personal, very, very personal. But most of the things that people go through are not. Things that we talk about in this podcast, namely hunger, disease, lack of love, that's something that is universal. And that's something that can be fixed when we tackle those problems together by creating flotillas for solar power. We reduce electricity bills. If you reduce electricity bills, guess what? You have more money in your pocket. You have more money in your pocket. Why not go to a restaurant and have a date? And if you have a very good date, they'll pay for their own meal. Or sometimes they'll pay for your meal too if they, really, really fancy you. So you see how all that intertwines and connects? Health is wealth. And Los Angeles people could be happier. And the way that they could be happier is if they had more liquid asset to do with what they please. Because if they keep tying down their own money to pay for things that are fucking free. There's a nuclear explosion in the sky. My face, I really do wish I had a UV cam, but my face is just being fried by the nuclear explosion that's going off outside. You call it the sun. We need to come up with a new name because people think of the sun and they think of it as a little friendly ball in the sky. It's like, no, that's a nuclear explosion. Respect that. And the way you respect that is, I'm going to drain every last photon coming out of that thing. So this way I can power homes, I can power hospitals, I can power schools, and power an internet that's so robust that you can get a signal underground because there'll be an Ethernet throughout the entire county, in addition to Wi-Fi, to repeat the signal, which, by the way, is also ultra fast and above a 6 or even a 7 megahertz. This is why I do this podcast. I hate LA. Love me anyway. Love me like you do. I'm so glad that you put that, Matt. Because what I'm trying to do with Los Angeles, I want to do with every state in this country. I want to empower Los Angeles to be a strong economy so I can empower every other city to have a strong economy. Because when America is wealthy, it's healthier. I circle all the way back to my original point of there are zombies everywhere. Zombies eat brains and zombies are attacking people. Okay, let them in. Let more zombies in. Because once we start healing every last zombie, every last vampire, every last werewolf, they become human again with just a little bit of money. Some of them have their own issues, they have addictions, whatever. Guess what? The majority of the people who have been afflicted with having to go through social services, they need help. They need someone to say, there is another way. So yes, integration. Solve every single issue in at least this county of Los Angeles by saying, let's look at one expression, namely that giant nuclear explosion in the sky. Solve for that variable, just that one. It might be repeated throughout the rest of the function, but solve the one with the highest degree, and that is the sun. A nuclear explosion in the sky that gives a substantial amount of energy that we have yet to truly harness. Because if we harness every bit of that energy, we are unstoppable on every other issue that we have. When power costs go down, everything else becomes cheaper. This is I Hate LA, Love Me Anyway. I am your host and hopefully Mayor of Los Angeles, Ian Iliana. I will see you at the 6 o'clock podcast. 6 o'clock Pacific Standard Time.